Alright, I'm gonna talk about this Seedance 2 here. I'm gonna record this because I did it once and the audio for the video clip were too noisy. Alright, and then this is the second pass at this. And I'm making it because I want to do a little review with myself of my learning takeaway from Seedance 2. After generating a 600 5-second clip or 200 15-second clip. Even 200 was quite a bit. It was all the way down here. The first clip I did, all the way to the top, took me about a week, and I was debating with myself a little too much because each of the Seedance 2 clip, you can do a lot of information. And you can jam pack a lot of information, and particularly when it's 15 seconds, right? It's amazing amount of information that you have to give it a little bit time and space. Where it was a major cause of stress for me as I pushed it to the very end of a month of a yearly subscription credit, and it wasn't nice that you should space it out like 2 3 months even. That's one of the major learning. We just it does take a lot of time to think what you're gonna do. In the beginning, the first clip that I did, just the character walking with a little bit explosion here, so it wasn't too complicated. I'm trying to get the feel of how the model move the camera, and then I started getting wise and on a 5-second clip, just decided to see if the character actually do something exploding the scene is gonna be, and then you get a little bit scared. Whether it's the way I want it to move. Be careful. This scene I thought that it was a little bit too tame, where the monster wasn't thick enough to walk. That I needed to add a little bit more excess prompting. You have to give it a certain amount of detail where a simple prompt is gonna give you simple result because Seedance is kind of precise, alright? So the thing you want to understand is calibrated to a way where it's so precise that you have to give it a little bit more information for it to do certain things more. Like if I have a character that have an itchy nose, right, and I wanted him to rub his nose even as he peek out and look at the worm, right, and these kind of normal human expression where you want that extra human touch on the human character. You're not gonna get it on a simple prompt because the simple prompt is always gonna be rigid. It's gonna be rigid. It's gonna be exactly what you ask for, and it's a good thing when you're trying to pay for premium service where you want it to do exactly the thing you want to do. But it's also a calm because then when you're doing bulk order of 100 clips, 200 clips, you find yourself always having to add in micro action of your human character, and it can get a little bit tiring. And if you're overwhelmed and you cannot add another play acting scene into a video AI character, then you're not gonna get the human expression. So that's something to keep in mind. But you can add it in, and it does register. That's the thing. Oh, excuse me. Let me see. See if I have a better example for you to showcase some of the micro expression of these characters. This scene is pretty straightforward. Where there's not much happening, it's just 4 seconds. 4 seconds is a little bit short. Where I tend to avoid 4 seconds because unless there's one scene that is particularly neat, it always feels a bit abrupt. That I'd rather play out 5 seconds or 6 seconds. Where then I have a little bit more creative time to cut the timing myself as well. Like post editing. Here, this clip, I made a mistake because he probably would have been better off more natural if, as he was getting pulled away, that he was trying to grab his gun, and I wasn't looking at the gun. I didn't really think about it, so it looks a little bit awkward. So that's something you have to plot out for, where you have to visually imagine and consider all these scene object, whether the character needed to interact with the object, pull the strap or not. But he's kind of helpless anyway. But it almost feels like he's giving up as a soldier, right? He's like, oh, I'm just gonna forget about my gun and not care too much. If I was a soldier, the first thing I would do is pick up the gun, right? But that's what it is. Yeah. I'm learning when I start out what it's gonna do, and that's what happened when we asked Seedance the giant worm chase soldiers. Sensor is not too stiff even on free pick Magnific. We get some kind of violent gore here with the bug creature. Oh, on this scene, I wanted to make sure that I prompted the background scene to be a bunch of Austrian Empire soldier, 1800. That way it retained the data, that the set location. And you have to deliberately prompt it in because, see, every prompt I put in the word 800 era. So you know the timestamp of the story. It doesn't add new element. It knows it quite well. And it helps because if I didn't specify the prompt in the location and time of the story, right? It might give you some futuristic element that you wouldn't want. And this is a way for you to reinforce the scene. I found it to be very helpful. It's better to give a quick brief to Seedance about the environment as well. There is a castle interior. So then on the next scene, when the camera change, you won't be exposed to open sky or something, because there have been an issue where it was a bit of a problem where it didn't register or people understand the back scene on its own without prompting. So if you want to avoid wasting credit, some simple prompt like castle interior will do just fine. Just give it a little bit of a basis of reinforcement at work for me. That's where it is. I always keep it. There was one scene, I think it was this one here, where it's supposed to be a castle interior, but you see it became an opening, a building opening, where here you can kind of see this interior of a cathedral or something, and the story called for these soldiers breaking into the cathedral interior. So this was the scene where I started to realize I always have to prompt for it, the interior. They wasn't gonna automatically give it to me. That it might evolve into thinking that this is a built outside street or something, where I want it to be a castle interior. Yeah, so that's where it is. Then I'll probably have to regen this one, or salvage it and use it somewhere else. But yeah, it caused a bit of a problem. That's a major important breakaway, because after I adopted the stance of always prompting for stages, I never broke another scene again for the entire 200 clips. So it's well worth it to keep to that to keep to that motto. Let me see if there's anything else I learned. Sometimes combat scenes is hit and miss. And for some reason, this extra hallucinated spear coming out. I'm not too sure if I regenerate, if it's still gonna be there, or if I'm seeing other people the way they deal with this problem here, right? The couple of problems that made this happen. The first is that the blade, right? The blade wasn't in the character reference, and that's one of the problem that I found, that if it doesn't match, right, the soldier is musket doesn't have a bayonet charge blade, so it creates issues where the AI doesn't know how to deal with it. Scenes like this where you want to fix up to your character uh, consistency to make sure that it matches this particular clip, or there's gonna be pop-up issue where you can see at the end of the clip he reduces back to no blade. Alright, so it locks it start to end frame to the character sheet, and so it better be exactly the image, the character that you started off with. And see that it's not smart enough to know the difference. That is always going to prioritize the character sheet and go back to the character sheets. Um, there's a workaround to this where if you don't want to duplicate weapon, right, you can reinforce the model, right, and tell it deliberately, do not duplicate weapon. No weapon duplications. And that might help these AI who hallucinate extra. But I think in this case it's also mostly the character sheet being different. Um, there's another issue with weapons where I try to have the character throw his weapon, but then it just wouldn't throw it because the character should have the character holding weapon, and so the weapon would just kind of pop up in the hand again. So I think maybe the best workaround to that situation is I just start a new frame. I just start a new clip altogether, and for the new clip I'm just gonna have a character sheet where the character isn't holding the weapon. That way I can maybe attempt to have start frame with the shield on, throw the shield away, and then there's no pop-up issue afterward. But you have to do a separate clip just to make sure it doesn't lock when you're picking up or throwing away equipment. Here, right? The prompt specified that at first this succubus was supposed to be shot, clawing on the shield repeatedly, and then breaking the shield, clawing it in, damaging it, and then cutting it in half with nails. But it didn't do any of these things. And then the prompt had me assuming that worked, and so he's throwing away his broken shield now, right? And when he threw the shield, you can see clearly that he's still holding another shield. And this one, I didn't even have a character sheet attached to this video clip. It's just a start frame. So even the start frame, it has issue with AI hallucination. So I don't know. I might have to force prompt it. I haven't figured this part out yet. It's been kind of bothering me. Maybe I need to use a different model altogether. Maybe Seedance just have a problem with it. Twitter, I looked up other artists, and their method of non-duplication of weapon, deliberately negative prompt in, might help. That I might have to say after he throws the weapon, he's not holding any weapon anymore in his hands, and no shield duplication. I'm gonna give that a try, because you can see even without character sheet that it is still a recurring problem on start frame alone. So there's no Omni reference to kind of lock it in. Yeah, it's just a regular start frame yeah, image. So that might be something to triangle the problem with, where the prompt craft and has to be very deliberate to now say that the character is no longer a whole weapon, and then no weapon duplicate. This scene here, I tried to skip out on character reference of my character, and then it added a brand new human character that I didn't like. Only reference when you're dealing with a consistent story and you want a consistent character is a must. I tried a multiple attempt where I tried to go off only reference because the camera is a little bit further away. This scene here, right? I skipped on only weapons for the character. The armor ended up not being the exact armor, the chest piece, because the start frame, the armor were blocked by the sword, right? So the armor morphed, where there's a noticeable difference from every other clip, and I regretted this scene because, and I was trying to test out to see whether it moved faster, whether combat is a little bit smoother with less only weapons. And my verdict is this: you don't want to worry too much when it's just one only, because it's not going to be too damaging. The AI is not going to be too taxed into weapons in one only character weapons. If you do two, it will probably still be alright. If you start going off 4 to 5 only weapons, that's when the combat suffers, where you have a significant slowdown. But it's not worth the cost of having an inconsistent character. So you should not be shipping out. You should just plug in your main character as a consistent character sheet, and then not worry whether it zoom in, zoom out, turns back, whether it morphs or not. That's the go-to. And after this clip, I decided to always add in after that clip, I decided to always add in the character sheets. So I was happy with this clip afterward. And I guess I'll talk about this as well. Well, after 200 clips of Seedance 2, I realized that 720p that I was on gave me the correct texture and coloring, but it was maybe a little bit too high for combat scenes, because many a time combat is a bit generative variance, hit and miss, and you don't know how it swing. The more complicated your combat, sometimes this scene I wasn't never quite happy with, because this third vampire kind of came out of nowhere. I don't see that it was the same vampire. They were supposed to run around super speed, and the camera kind of cut them off. So maybe 2 regen later might be I could cherry pick a better one, and you have to be prepared to have some low quality generation when it comes to combat. And if you go on a lower option, it's cheaper, you can regenerate. Versus here, I'm reluctant to regenerate because it's so expensive, and then I'm getting a subpar result. The verdict I came up with after 200 clips at 15 seconds is that I'd rather trade down on the resolution, but have the opportunity to regenerate. So 480p is actually very good with combat if you want maximum quality results that way. So let me resume this clip here. What else do I need to talk about? Let me see. Voices. I'll give you a showcase of a voice here. Seedance.
Why haven't the platoon destroyed the castle support structure by now? Send runners out and contact the corporals in the field.
I didn't have enough time to prepare for voices, but what I really wanted to do was stress that 11 Lab version 3 emotion voices, right? It's not as calibrated for cinema as Seedance, but then Seedance only give you one generation. So if the character here were a little bit too angry. I couldn't pick the whole full 6 variations. Versus 11 Lab, I did a lot of podcasts with 11 Lab, and in motion, I could almost always kind of gauge what this topic needed and cherry picked out of the 6. And the credit cost for 6th generation, every single time you can regenerate twice more, every single time you get 2 variation each. So it's huge. The upside is that 11 Lab is always going to be a little bit better, just because it's generative AI and you get to pick out of the best of 6. Versus here, you don't. So if you generate in 11 Lab first, you can then human assessment gauge what the situation needs, and then get the best result. And that's what I'm gonna try to do. I think that's one of the big steps that is missing. That although you can do with Seedance straight up, it's never gonna be as good. So I'll try it very hard to avoid generating audio here straight up, but it does work. But I also encounter issues where it has been known to have a little bit of a word problem. That 1 or 2 words have a bit of a problem where it comes off wrong, and that's not impossible. So that's another thing to look out for, where you don't automatically get the exact words that you prompted in. Sometimes you do, but it's not a perfect system, and it's not a professional audio service, so there is a bit of breaking.
It was no use, Her General. They put some kind of spells in the pillars. It's too reinforced for our explosives. Our munitions had no effect.
The thing that fascinates me right now is the prompt style for human character. Do I want him to look down on the ground, a little bit uncertain before he look back up to the soldier? There's a lot of micro expression that you can do as he's talking, and I haven't deep dived into it yet, so I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm following other artists online. They're getting amazing results with Seedance in terms of facial expression and acting. But mostly the go-to rule is always set up the audio first. Whether 11 Lab or I'm experimenting with also Seedance ByteDance on the audio C Audio 1, where it's kind of calibrated more for cinema, and you kind of get the same result that you get here with Seedance Video AI and Straight, but then you can fix it if there's an issue there. Or audio first, and apparently in audio first, the video end will just automatically fit the scene together to match the lip sync. So there's that going on. So that's one of the way to quality assure, right? That it becomes no brainer that if the voice isn't gonna be exactly the right dialogue. Let me see which one had issue. It's one of these 3.
Forward, men! Don't any of you back out from a fight! Victory for the Empire!
Alright, this one came out fine, right?
In formation now! Put our fury into those blood-sucking scums! Concentrate fire!
I felt that it was a bit mechanical. 11 Lab will probably be better.
2 platoons into the castle front gate now! Our men need our help! Go!
The camera did a little bit weird thing here. It wasn't too big of a problem. I didn't really have it worry too much about it. Where it kind of zoomed in on the character face too much. It was too weird that I have to regenerate the scene. I just have to ask the Seedance model to static. I just added a clip where I just added a word saying, "Oh, the camera had to be static." And they actually running into the castle anyway. Versus here running into the far back.
Get 2 platoons into the cup. Get 2.
Yeah. I'm not too sure which scene where the dialogue broke, but there were one clip that the dialogue broke, and there's another story I did where the dialogue again broke. So if you're in a hurry and you want to rush Seedance like I did, consider not adding too many words, because once the sentence get long, the model has a difficulty with it. That it's not like 11 Lab where it's basically fine tuned as a podcast audiobook kind of service, where it's still a video AI first platform and it has limits. If you go too long a sentence, that's when you inevitably going to break. If you go 15-second dialogue, that's absolutely a no here. So I try to keep it short burst. Kevin, who was doing the AI artist who was doing for Magnific, the Bone series, right? The 3 million view uh fairy tale Bone series about vampires. Um, he tell people that he jumpstart the voice with Seedance, and the voice do sound a little bit better when you natively have a Seedance generated to jumpstart it, but you just cannot go the range. And the AI is able to detect the face and even see audio too. See audio, you can put a image in, and the AI will auto detect what the character is, and give it a personality, give it a voice. So there's a visual read element to the audio, and for the purpose of jump starting the sound of voice of a young man, old man, it fits, right. The old man fits, the little bit younger sergeant fits. And so far that has been a good trick, where it's quite reliable that it's able to register the character correctly. So the tone and sound of the voice, you can kind of let it autopilot a little bit. You just it's just a dialogue isn't gonna be right if you push it too hard. Let me see if there's anything that I want to say. I'm trying to be as tight and lean here with this clip as possible. I felt this scene came out a little bit dry here, and mostly because I was just tired and on a rush, and maybe they could the vampire were close in and try to grab him, and I have to fight him off. And instead, I got so tired, he's just telling me to, he's just gonna scream at it. And that's this is one of the issue where if you don't have enough time to prompt for your Seedance, you're gonna get middle ground results. You're gonna stay on middle ground, so you have to move the character along and drive the action in more minute detail. And if I push the character a little bit deeper into the human character, it would have been better. Yeah, that's what it is. Understanding the final point of the proper balancing when it comes to Seedance prompt craft with character action is not so hard. Like you will understand how the model calibrate and fine tune itself. Uh, you have to give it some level of details, but not too much where it overwhelm the model. But yeah, just add a layer of a small detail seem to be the rule of thumb where it's a fine point. And a lot of people mention that as well. Open Art did a guide about about Seedance, and they're saying the same bit. If you pump too little, you're gonna get very little results. And by the end of it, I understood it. It's so it's just how precise the model is calibrated. I hope that I explained that correctly. Uh, right. Like this is a better example of a prompt where I get more interesting result moment to moment. And basically I micro movement prompted in. Where even when he's slicing left, right, side, hitting succubus and succubus fall down. And the prompt doesn't have to be too complicated if you're overwhelmed by the number of clips you have to do. But you do have to do a little bit of a micro detail. And it can be very very simple wording too, and the AI will be able to register that it's a different action there. Oh, I have this scene here I want to showcase. Well, I thought about this scene over. Um, so in Seedance, unlike Cling, right? Cling is something that I mostly use where, and I'll show you the clip first. So for some reason, I had a prompt telling the AI that the moment they get pulled out of the sun shadow and hitting the sunlight, so I was expecting to walk past this point here. It's gonna burn them up. The sunlight is gonna burn them up. But but I was trying to tax a model to make it register something they had no capacity to register for. So the vampire here got pulled out of the house, and they started burning out a little bit too late here, where they should be burning by now, but they weren't burning. And here it is, they're still not burning. And then I realized what I did wrong was not trying to have the model register whether there's sunlight on the ground or not. That's not something that is able to register correctly. Instead, I tried the next scenes where I think this one I just straight up tell it to burn a little faster. Or maybe did I give it a second prompt here? Oh yeah, here on second clip. Although it's a different clip altogether, I added in a 3 second small flame begin to 2 second small flame begin to ignite on the vampires. So then it giving me better result where it's timing more correctly. Where they immediately burning up. And the prompt has some the rope is pulling them out, and then they're walking towards the camera. And so I'm timing the prompt where they're already struggling to and walking out. I'm just yeah I'm so the takeaway is here is that with these 3 second 2 second timing, right, you can do it for every single prompt Seedance, but you don't necessarily want to normally. Like most of the time I find that if I time enough on my action into a prompt, it will just kind of align itself. That I'm able to, by raw prompt, multitude actions by sequence, time the whole sequence together. And you can time it without typing the time frame by simply selecting 4 second, 8 second, or however long it is, and then go by how extensive your action is through a scene, right? So it is not normal to use the second counter, even though you can all the time. It's too mechanical. Sometimes it's not natural, so I turn it off. And now the use case of when to turn it back on is cases like this, where there's a very specific moment where it has to log in at that specific time. They have to burn. They have to burn like right here, right now, and it's exactly the 2 second that I asked for. That's what I mentally time the scene for, and I'm getting exact good result for. And this is the best use case for these kind of second prompt. Where anything else beyond this, it feels like an excess micromanagement. That's the thing that I didn't understand at first. Well, I wasted too much time trying to prompt for time because I didn't think that I didn't need to care. Most of the time, you don't need to care. It's when there's a special need for it. That's when you bring up that tool set. And that's been helpful. You add more naturality to it. Let's say a combat scene like this one. There's no timestamp, but it still looks alright. My apologies. It wasn't the same. Oh, sorry. It wasn't the same clip. It was from another account. But I'll show you some other combat. Right? Most of my combat. Most of my combat, I don't have a timestamp on because there's no need for it. You let it naturally resolve itself seem to be by and large a better result. And locking in again just unnaturally create issues. And you cannot hope to time it correctly and have all the time to debate with yourself exactly when and where the action should occur. So it's best just to let the AI auto time it and auto resolve itself. And there's a lot of value in letting it auto resolve. That most of the time you tend to get the result you want more when you don't add an extra level of complication. So certain second time frame can be detrimental as well if you use it too much for its worth and you don't really have a need for it. That's what I want to say. That at the end, not prompting for that at the end, not prompting for second lock for the action for the character came out by and large better and more simple to prompt for, more simple to design, and so I can move on to the next clip. I don't have to waste all day debating whether I have to be might go 2 seconds, 5 seconds, 8 seconds. It's gonna take forever. You're gonna go a little bit crazy. So it's worth disposing the opportunity to be as precise and just do it by needs. And that's what I'm doing right now after 600 clips, where I know that I will never use that tool unless I have a need for it. Cling doesn't even have seconds, so I never actually developed a use case until recently that has been a bit enlightening. I'm still processing all the information. Explosion prompt. I'll show you explosion prompt here. I added a multitude of excess explosion after because I really wanted it big. I really wanted it to be very dramatic. I want to see if I can get close to a cling master. And you can add a couple more explosions to the bomb because it's so precise, right? One explosion, two explosions, bigger, and then even bigger. More smoke coming out and engulfing the camera. And maybe there were like 4 or 5 layers of different explosion on this one prompt. And it's able to take it all in and then give it to you too. This is gonna kind of affect you can get if you add in that many explosive, and you get the result. It's kind of fun. There's not much I want to say more, and not a lot learning takeaway. I think. Let me see. I think that I'm probably gonna end this clip around here. Oh, for this last clip here, I tested out 480p because I ran out of credits the last clip. And I just posted this clip yesterday and upscaled it on a with a tool to 720p, and then I was looking at it to see whether 480p looks as good as 720p, and the color is a little bit degraded, and skin texture is a little bit plain. But sometimes because combat has so much generative issue. You want the maximum looking right for every combat scene. Going lower, it's not. I don't think it's the worst because it doesn't look too bad either. Even if you upscale it after. But it's very situational because there are situations where 720p does look a whole lot better. For scenes like these kind of large combat, right? I feel scenes like this where there's a lot of people in the background that it would probably be better if it is natively done at 720p. But some scene I will absolutely trade off. I already said this, but I'll say again that it doesn't look half bad. So give it a try for lower resolution option for complicated scenes where you do plan to regen or redo, and I think it's worth it. That's all I learned. I think for this 600 clips, I'll be doing more, and then if I learn anything else, I'll do a second part of here. It's been fun, so I hope this helps somebody out and help you save some money, avoid some mistakes. You see, then it's quite expensive still. Alright, have fun creating.